Hi, talking about community participation at the Owasp Kerala meet. I'm really glad to be here uh, through a video, but glad. So my name is Akash Mahajan. I'm one of the chapter leaders for Owasp Bangalore, and I've been doing community work for the past 10 years now. And I'm going to talk about why communities need participation. So what exactly is a community? Right? When we think of communities, we think of something which is online, maybe on Facebook, or something else. But what Wikipedia says is a community is commonly considered a social unit who share something in common, such as norms, values, identity, and often a sense of place that is situated in a given geographical area, okay, a village, town, or a neighborhood. So, what are the examples? Owasp chapter of Kerala, right? So, it's a geographical area and there's a shared sense of identity. Another community, which is a community around security and learning and knowledge sharing of security. A residential association can be a community. A political party is a community. Again, with a shared sense of identity and what they want to achieve, which is win elections. Why belong to a community? The first thing is there is a shared sense of identity. Most likely, people in social settings want to belong somewhere. They want to be identified by something. For example, we belong to Owasp, a global non-profit in the area of application security, and we want to do things together towards a common goal. So we all want to be great at application security. So OWASP helps us do that by doing a bunch of things. And learning together is fun. If it's part of a class or a community or an online forum, it doesn't matter. It's I believe it's more fun when you do it as part of you're sitting in the same room. So how does one participate in a volunteer organization? Right? Remember we started talking about communities need participation, and we know that Owasp Kerala is a volunteer organization. The first step, the single most important step, is to show up. Because if you don't show up, there is no community. Right? Once you start showing up, talking about the community online, offline is important as well. So that you can tell the people you know in the real world what do you stand for, what is your identity, and why do you identify with the community, right? And then you can do something for the community. It could be as simple as the community is trying to get the word out. Owasp Kerala wants to do a session and they're trying to get the word out. You could retweet that, or maybe make a poster for them, something like that. And it's also important to remember what the community is for. Discussing WhatsApp gossip in an application security community might be acceptable, but is not very useful, right? Because it takes away from the central topic at hand. So, what is the Owasp Kerala community for? What we want to say is, let's do technical discussions around application security, right? Let's share ideas on how to be secure, how to test for security, how to break things, how to build things. You will notice that the sharing ideas are basically what the OWASP.org website talks about. And which is obvious because the OWASP Kerala community is representing a chapter for the global non-profit OWASP. How does one share? Okay, because we spoke about that we have to have sharing ideas. So how does one share? Give a talk. Talk to each other in the room. A good starting point is, hey, my name is Akash. I'm here to talk about Owasp Kerala. What are you doing here? What are you interested in learning? Finding interesting news around application security. If you don't have anything else to talk about, you could share that. Or maybe you read something interesting, but you're not really sure, what it really means. Maybe, someone else in the room has an idea, has an opinion. Giving a talk, according to me, is one of the best things, how you can participate in a community. And for me, there are only two types of speakers. Either you're a first time speaker or you're an accomplished public speaker. For first time speakers, I just want to say this. Remember there are three types of audience. There are only three types of people in a room. Number one is people who know more than you. You can learn from them while sharing your talk. People who know roughly as much as you, they are your peers. They are the ones who are going to laugh at your jokes the most. Maybe even tease you if you get something wrong, right? But they will support you in the end. And then the third category is people who are learning from you. Your act of giving a talk is possibly giving them confidence to speak up as well. Okay, so that's really important to remember. People who know more than you can learn from them. People who know roughly as much as you know, they are peers, and people who are learning from you. Great. An accomplished public speaker, always remember, your audience is from different backgrounds and different experience levels. While you want to explain technical things, if possible, try to ensure that all of your audience is getting what you're saying. Why should I speak when there are far more smarter people than me? This is a typical question people who have never been speakers tend to have. And I have three reasons for you. Reason one, explaining something to others is the best way to learn. Reason number two, explaining something to others is the best way to learn. Can you guys what reason number three is? Explaining something to others is the best way to learn. So the point I'm making is, when you are able to form words or write down something which is in order to explain the concept to someone else, you are able to organize your thoughts, answer or tackle questions from others, questions that you may not have thought of, and more such questions tackled by you will allow you to learn the subject matter better. Okay? So again, explaining something to others is the best way to learn. And always be teaching. What does that mean? When you agree to give a talk, you get two things automatically. What are they? A deadline, since your talk needs to be ready before the next meet, and a scope, since you will have limited time to deliver your talk. You will need to cut down on the topics you want to cover, because you can't cover everything in 30 minutes or 45 minutes. You will need to structure it with a beginning, a middle, and an end. Right? You have to start somewhere. You have to talk about whatever the main things are, and then you have to have a conclusion. But it's good to do a rehearsal, right? A rehearsal, sorry. While you may be confident that you will cover all your slides, it is a good idea to practice that once before you present it to everyone. You may be surprised about how much you can talk once you have overcome the initial hesitation. So you may take longer than necessary, right? I don't really worry about if the talk finishes early. There is always time to revise some of the slides or tackle more questions, right? Or get into a discussion. So now that I have explained that community needs participation, what can you do for the community? Right? There are a bunch of things. You could help with running the show on the day of the meet, right? Talk to the organizers, charter leads, how can you help? Ask them, just walk up to them and say, I would like to help, what do I do? If they forget about you, remind them again. Because remember, this is a volunteer community. Nobody is getting paid for this. So if you would like to help, keep offering it. And see if you can record speaker talks, chat with the speakers, upload them somewhere, maybe on YouTube or something, right? And always try to invite more speakers. Talk to the new people that you meet or people you feel are technically really good and say, hey, we do this community meetup for Owasp Kerala. Are you aware of Owasp? Oh, so this is what it is, and we are all talking about application security for free. Why don't you come and share your thoughts? All of that is possible. Participate, participate, right? Because if you participate, a meet becomes a community. If you don't participate, it is just a meet, like a classroom. If you're a community member, you can have a say in what you learn. Because if you have been participating and then you say, hey, can someone teach me the difference between SOP versus CORS? Someone else is more likely to say yes, okay, that's an interesting topic, let's cover that. But if you only attend and not share what you want to learn, when you want to learn it, then you will just learn what others are teaching when they have time to teach. That's all I have to say. Just want to say that if you want to make a success of your application security studies or career, and you think that Owasp Kerala can help you in that journey, you need to transform from being an attendee to being a community member. You can point your questions to me, on Twitter, or you can email me, akash.mahajan@owasp.org. Thank you so much. Bye. All the best.